Hello everyone and welcome to day 4 of our HP Quick Start class. This is the day that we've been building up to, and it's great to be here to get into working with customers, sales orders, invoicing, and quotes. My name is Red Scott and I'm with hpCommerce software. Now we're going to get into order entry and invoicing in HP. Strategy. Invoices and orders in HP are separate documents. And there's a very good reason for doing this. We have customers across the entire spectrum in the performance racing and motorsports industry. Many of them are engine builders or fabricators or car or chassis builders, and they may work on a project for a long period of time. So they need to be able to start up an order and leave it open for maybe months at a time while they're adding additional parts and labor to that order, or collecting deposits along the way from a customer as they're working on the project. This system allows you to start up an order and then continue to work with it until you finish it and then invoice it. Along the way, you're going to be creating a lot of other orders and invoices that are started and completed in one setting. And so we have a separate order number and invoice number for these types of documents. They're not the same number. And this can work in your favor in this scenario. The strategy is to create an order, get it completed with all the items you need on it, and then to invoice it when you're ready. If need be, we'll learn that you can open that order back up by undoing an invoice. You can make corrections to the order and then re-invoice it as needed. What I'm going to take you through now is going into pulling up the order entry system, working with searching, taking a look at the dashboard, and then we will start to create an order and move all the way through that process. Well, as I mentioned, you can start an order directly from customer management. You can pull up your customer and select order entry. I'm going to start off out at the main menu. So from the main menu, we'll go into invoice order entry. If you've set up salespeople in the system, you'll have an option of selecting your salesperson, and then that will bring you to the blank sales order screen. If you remember, this looks a lot like the purchase order screen. You need to specify who you're selling the order to, what their shipping address is, and then you can indicate some other details. If you look down at the bottom of the blank sales order screen, you'll see a dashboard that will allow you to search for customers. You can look at open orders. You can even hop into a stock check, and you can add a new customer directly from here. Just like when we were over in customer management, you can press the F11 key and go right into creating a customer. Also, as part of the searching process, if you search for a customer and HP doesn't find it, it will ask you if you want to create a customer right from there. Let's hop into search open orders. This brings up a list of all of the open orders in the system, and you can use many different searching tools to locate what you're after and then pull up that existing order. You can take a look at the order, and then if it's not the one that you want, you can back out of the order, and then your search criteria are still here. So if you've taken the time to search for the order, if you have a lot of open orders, then you don't have to research if you pulled up the wrong one. You can also search by reference number, PO number, and job number. The easiest way to start a sales order is just like starting up a purchase order. If you know anything about the customer account or the contact, you can type it in. In this case, I typed in commerce. There was only one hit, and it found hpCommerce software. It asks me if the shipping address is the same. I can select yes, and then all of the information it pulls in here is default information that it pulls in from customer management. So the taxable status, the terms are all brought in from customer management. It will also default to whatever you've specified as your default shipping method. You can provide a PO number, a reference number, and a job number. The ship via is very important. We touched on this when we were in customer management, and this will control whether or not a customer is taxable in some situations. So if the customer is resale or resale exempt, they exempt or resale exempt, they are not going to be taxable under any scenario. If the customer is taxable, they're going to be taxable under any shipping scenario. If the customer is out of state, then they will be taxable if you indicate will call, counter, pickup as the shipping method. That means they're standing in front of you and you should charge them sales tax. Otherwise, if you select any other shipping method, then they will not be taxed if their taxable status is out of state. I want to look down here at the dashboard for a moment. I want to remind you about the vehicle tracking system. You can assign a vehicle to an order. You can select from a set of vehicles you've already set up for the customer, or you can add the vehicle right when you're creating an order. I also want to point out that you can assign a credit card to an order. If you're using the integrated payment system in HP, you can select a customer card or add a new customer card right at the time that you're creating the order and apply it to the order right now. This is a really great feature for if you have an order fulfillment process where an order goes out to the warehouse to be processed and then invoiced out there, and you want to go ahead and set up all the credit card information on the order so that when it gets out to the warehouse, people out in the warehouse are not working with credit card information, and also in a case where maybe multiple cards are stored on the customer account, the right card is being charged. I also want to point out the drop ship flag. So this is the time when you want to set whether or not a sales order is being drop shipped to the customer or not. By default, it's going to be set up as not drop ship. The last item I want to cover on this screen is the order type. HP has multiple order types and all of them have a specific function. The default is sales order. In System Setup, you can control the default order type. So if you have mainly shop orders where you're doing shop work and you want them always to appear as work orders, you can set that up in System Defaults, and then when you create a new order, it will always be set up as work order. Sales order and work orders work the same. They commit inventory when you save the order. It's just a title on the sales order document when it prints out that's different. Layaways have a special function in that if the order type is of type layaway, when you save the order, it will not commit the inventory that is on the order. So it will not show that any inventory is committed to the order. It's just a way of getting a layaway order set up in the system and allowing your customer to come in and make regular payments against that order. It's a great sales tool, especially during this time of year. If you want to offer a layaway program for the holidays, you can do that and not worry about any of your inventory getting committed until you switch the order type back from layaway to a sales order or a work order. You cannot invoice a layaway order. It has to be turned into a sales order or a work order before you can invoice it. At that point in time, it will commit the inventory and then relieve the inventory when you invoice it. RMAs are a special order type that you would want to use in order to set up a return for a customer. A customer calls you on the phone and says they want to return an item. You negotiate with them and you're going to allow them to return it. You create an order in the system called an RMA, and you give them the RMA number after you create the order. The RMA number is the sales order number. You ask them to put that RMA number on the outside of the box. You can even email them the RMA and ask them to put a copy of that in the box with it, so when it comes back into you, you know that it's something that you've approved to be returned. We're not going to cover this, but it also has an extra function where if you indicate that an order is of an RMA type, when you go and put an item onto the order, it will go back and search the customer's history for any time when they may have purchased that item from you and show it on a list so that you can pick the most recent purchase of the item to make sure that it's being returned at the price that they purchased it at. And then finally, a future order works just like a layaway order does in that it does not commit inventory. It allows you to set up an order and save it in the system. You could think of it as being something that's a little bit more sure than a quote. Another way you can use that is in the case of you got an order all set up for a customer and then they said, well, let me think about it. And you think it's surer than a quote, so you don't want to turn the order into a quote. You want to save it as a future order, but you don't want to tie up your inventory. You can change the order type to future order. Once again, a future order cannot be invoiced. You have to turn that back into a sales order or a work order in order for it to be invoiced. Gift certificates. If you're using one of our integrated payment methods, they do offer gift card type programs that we're integrated to. There's two companies in particular that have either just a gift card program or a store card program. A store card program meaning it's not a gift card program, it's kind of like a cash back type program that can only be used in your store, where you can set up what type of incentive the customer will get, whether it's a penny for every dollar spent, and then that goes onto their card and they can use that like a credit card just in your business. Those gift cards and store cards are branded for your business. They act just like credit cards and can only be used in your store. If you happen to be one of our customers that has a multiple store location, those gift cards can be set up to be used across multiple stores and honored in multiple stores. How to work with a gift certificate in HP. You can set up a product line and a part number in HP as a gift certificate. You can indicate that it is a non-stocking item and that it is not taxable, because you don't want to charge tax twice on gift certificate sales. So you can set it up as being a tax-exempt item. You can then generate an order and an invoice in HP for a gift certificate, give that to, collect money for that from the person who's buying it, and then give them that order and invoice, which is essentially when that comes in to you from the recipient, you would take that gift certificate and you would apply that gift certificate balance to the customer's account as a deposit on account. And you would indicate that the source is gift certificate. There is a payment source in HP of gift certificate. That will put a balance onto their account that you can then use as a payment form when you create an order and turn it into an invoice.